Congratulations, Max.
Hey, hello. Good evening.
Hey, good evening. So what new are you planning to bring in the TSC?
Oh, a lot. I don't know yet.
A lot. Great, great. I'd love to see it. Let's also plan to meet up in the Open Infra Berlin event.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you plan to arrive a day earlier or to stay a day
Yes,
later, something like
a
that?
day early. A day early. I'll be there on 5th.
Maybe we could use that for an unofficial pre-open infra Magma meeting.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Let's connect offline, then we can plan.
Hey everyone.
Hey, Shruti.
Hey Mohit, welcome to TSC.
Thank you, Shruti.
Did you get a chance to introduce yourself to the team last week?
No, actually, I think I did it the first time. But anyways, thanks for giving me the floor again. There'll be a little bit of background noise because I'm in traffic at the moment. Hi, everyone. My name is Mo, and I'll be filling in for Rafael Deposo from the Open Air Interface Alliance. And we've been contributing to the Magma community for the last 2 years, basically. Yeah.
Thanks, Mohit.
All right, I was just waiting for Yogesh to join since he's part of the first agenda item. So I'll just give it another minute.
Hey, Kendall, this is Kader.
Hi, Cotter. Well, does anyone know if Yogesh is planning to join?
Hi, Kendall. Yeah, let's give a couple of minutes. If you don't join, then we can continue. That's fine. I can cover him up.
Okay.
Maybe I could use the time while we are waiting to just say thank you for the voting and hi. I'm happy to be in that round and hi, I'm Max. And yeah, I don't know if I need to say anything else.
Yeah, thank you, Max. Welcome to the TSC.
Yeah, welcome to the TSC, Max.
Okay, well, in interest of time, let's just go ahead and get started. And if Yogesh joins, then we can jump in.
I just pinged him, Kendall.
Okay, great.
But we can get started, yeah, please.
Okay, yeah. So the first item we had on the agenda was the release 1.8. It was Yogesh and Govdin. Sorry if I can't say your name correctly.
Yeah. Kendall, so this is the lead 1.item I was discussing with Jagesh this morning. So we were trying to finalize. Let me actually share my screen so that we are on the
Sure.
same page. Um, So in here, like this is the agenda, right? So what I was saying that like I started with this 5G essay contents, right? If you look into this link here, so we have initially these 5G essay which we are trying to deliver from Wavelab side, and then in the last meeting we saw when Govinda had like he want their additional contents for ARM sport, right? So I put everything together into a single place now. So we have like 1.8 release 5G essay, 1.8 ARM related contents, right? If anything else need to come, we need to kind of like, we need to keep filling up this release feature in one place, right? So that all the contents we are targeting, they stay on one place. That's the one part. So if anybody has question, we can discuss on this.
Yeah, we have made significant improvements to the domain proxy functionality from what was released in the tag version of 1.7, and it'd be great to include it in 1.8. It includes the UI and better logging that's easier to use, channel preference configuration, and other items, and all that's already merged into masters. So I don't know how it works for getting included in 1.8. If it's merged into master, do we have to explicitly add it to this list, or else it isn't included? Or is it, how does that work?
Joey, so if there are features you are saying they are going to be part of 1.8 release, I think they come in first, they come into this content list, and we agree, discuss in the TSC meeting with everybody, they're part of the release, right? And the second thing is ownership, to make sure the feature which we are including in 1.8, they are getting tested to the release level. So in that sense, I think your team take over that testing part and making sure we are delivering it as part of 1.8 documentation. Everything is kind of part of it.
So, Daljit, is this list meant to be the features under development or the features that are ready?
This is the features which are ready for release in. So we are looking for a release date, right? We can have another discussion in the top of the release meeting. We are thinking like maybe end of June, whichever feature can be made, or people or different community members, they want their features to be a part of 1.8. So from Wavelab side, we are focusing on 5.sa, right? Anything else comes in, it should be included here. Even this RM in 1.8, I saw some discussion. Is it confirmed? Is open for discussion, Shruti. So I think we need to discuss and finalize. Is it going to be in there? This is right now, there's a potential list, right?
I see. So I think if I understood Joy's question correctly, it was, if something is in master by end of June or by the day the release is planned, it would automatically be a part of the release. Well, and it's tested.
Yeah, it is it's part of the release, but it's not being released as part of release notes, right? It's in there, but it's not getting
Right.
released.
So we need to add it to this list and assign an owner, which is us, to ensure that as we go through the release process, we have testing completed and shared, and we have documentation in the right places, and it gives us a place to project manage it.
Right.
And
okay, well, I will add it to the list.
Great. And if I may request, it would be good to, just in terms of project management, it would be good to track this under the roadmap as well. Like that was my ask from the TSC channel was, if we have owners and if we have features that are under development, Daljit, if you can go to the roadmap page under technical steering committee. Some of these, so 5GSA is a big bucket there, but we don't have any owner or a GitHub project tracker page. If you could add the correct owner name here and status, and if you want to, like, maybe this, if you're using, in the past we've used the GitHub projects tools to track all the issues and PRs, to link the project link, like to club a bunch of GitHub issues under one umbrella, and anybody can click there and see the progress on GitHub. That's another way of consolidating what all work is going on. And in the last column, we have the release target. So 1.8 is already there. And the list of the release notes or the release content that you are, release features that page you are maintaining can be a release note page that can eventually be transported to GitHub as the release note with the, when the actual release is made. So just some program management.
Yeah, I think this kind of become a release note feature, but I don't know who is going to help with this, merging it to GitHub for final release, right? So we need somebody who can do this work. I'm just tracking, like, from our perspective, why there. Anybody else can just keep adding stuff, and then it. I think we are going to have a meeting with Tim to figure it out. That did not happen yet. Maybe it can be part of the release meeting.
Right, and as the release owner, I think it falls under your guidance on how you want to do it, and the DevOps team can surely help with branch management, but the consolidating the text and publishing it onto, like, creating the content is up to you. Like making sure everybody has put in a link to, and Jared and Oriel can provide more reference there because they did it the last time.
Shruti, how it was done in the past, 1.7 or the prior releases? This roadmap definition, we just started. So your suggestion is to create a roadmap page in the Magma repo itself. And then let's say if you are planning to release some of the feature in next quarter, the roadmap definition would be well defined up ahead prior, like 1 or 2 quarters or 3 quarters, depending upon the feature complexity.
So the roadmap is not on the GitHub, it's on Confluence, because GitHub doesn't give a nice tool for roadmap, but in the table that I put on the Magma roadmap page, it's we can link it to the GitHub issues and the GitHub project pages, and everybody is free to organize in whichever way they want to use GitHub projects. Like in the past, we have a projects page for domain proxy, right, Joy?
We have a separate Zen Hub for it because it goes to a different repo, or it's started out at the beginning of the project going to a different repo. And
I see.
So Zen Hub is tracked separately, but it's public. I can add it to the roadmap list with a link.
Okay. So I guess we have one for the 3GPP services pod that I've been using at Meta and with Radis's team to track issues. DevOps has a GitHub's projects page that I linked in there. I think if you click on anything with any entry in the GitHub project page, Daljit, you'll find, that one. If you can click on that.
Oh, you want me to? It's not part of wiki you're saying?
It's on the Magma. It's on the Magma roadmap. If you go to the GitHub's project column and click on any of the
Oh.
links,
Okay.
GitHub project, not documentation. The next column on the right.
Oh, okay. This one here.
Yeah. So we've used this in the past to track issues which fall under one bucket. Just to put all the issues in one place, we have a similar one for data plane and DevOps. And some, so if you just click on, if you go to the Magma repo and click on projects, you'll see a list of all projects. So that's a way to organize the GitHub issues, and then just linking it to the roadmap gives you just references it. So on the roadmap is the page this is open for discussion because this is the first time we are doing this open road mapping. Is the roadmap is a place where we have all the wish list and all the things that people are working on or plan to work on. And then a subset of that becomes part of 1.8, a subset of that becomes 1.9. And that's something that we keep on updating. It's a work in progress page. That's the way I'm looking at it. And my ask for you was to add the owners here so that it's clear on who's working on say 5GSA, whose work, like I think containerized access gateway, I added Govind's name there as he's the lead there. And that way, this becomes the superset of what all goes into individual releases.
No, sounds good.
Okay. I think we just missing here.
Daljit, Shruti, just a quick question. Not on the roadmap. I have another question on the roadmap. When it comes to the release 1.8, which we are planning to do in June, right? The way that I read it based on everyone talking is, I'm going to do this. Everybody is saying that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, right? But who is the overall person responsible for managing this whole release, ensuring every small piece is done by different people is getting done as per whatever the guidelines that we have, and say, okay, we can release this. Who's that overall person who's responsible for doing that? See, at least Daljit and Wavelab's point of view, we're just doing a piece, which is 5GSA, right? But we are not a owner of the complete 1.8 release. So how is this done?
Oh, my understanding was Wavelabs wants to lead that release on coordinating the effort across, and because 5GSA is the biggest piece there, and then there would be these smaller pieces coming in from other teams. My understanding was that as the meta team had done in the past, Oriel and Jared did it in the past. Wavelabs would do it this time, and then somebody else picks it up for the next release, so that we have it on a rotational basis, different owners for every release.
Okay. I don't think we officially communicated unless Daljit communicated that to you, Shruti. The reason is we don't know how to do it, right? I mean, if we know it, we can do it. We don't know how to do it, and nor we have done it.
Right. That's the learning part, right? We're all trying to set the process, so we can take support from folks who did it in the past, and I believe they're that's why we have the releases channel, to have that ongoing communication. And if this would be the time to actually, it's a good segue into the part of TSC processes and some other related processes. We need to document some of these procedures so that it becomes easy for anybody from the community to come forward and take it, fully understanding what the role is of the release management, right? But the short answer is there's no designated owner for the release. It's up to each person in the community to pick up and go and take it. And that's why what I'm really looking for is names on the owners column, right? Because the project is only as healthy as the community, right? So
yeah, but it's
and it's up to us as the TSC right? I mean, that's the effort that we're going through. Previously, Meta kind of drove the roadmap, drove release management. That TSC is transitioning to owning both of those roles. And so 1.8 is coming like while transition is in flight, and it may have a slightly less structured execution on the release management, but hopefully going forward, we have a roadmap of work item and work items and features, and we can all discuss status and what's a priority and what goes into whatever comes after 1.8 and put more structure around it.
Yeah, I think it's clear, Joey. Now, I just want to make sure that because we never committed that we would lead. Shruti, like you mentioned that you have an understanding. Maybe there's a misunderstanding there, but we can probably discuss this offline to see who would lead this release. We would be happy to lead jointly. The reason being that we have not done this in the past. Okay, I know that you all have not done it in the past. I understand that. But I would prefer if we could do it jointly rather than just do it alone. If that could be considered,
and I guess it's a question. It's something that, like Joy mentioned, this is the right place to discuss this. It's the release is even when you think about leading, it's more around coordinating a bit on making sure everybody who wants their feature in the next release has it in there and is aware of what the timeline is. So, but if it falls off the timeline, should we push it out and wait for that? Or do we go ahead and do the release and take a call that's saying, okay, no, this should go in the next release. We are not ready. We are not there yet. So it's not, that's the amount, that's the level of discussion I'm expecting. And as Joy mentioned, that can happen in the TSC meeting right here. This is the right forum to do that.
Sure. I would appreciate, Shruti, if you could have someone to jointly lead us, because this is the first time we are doing. That's why I'm a little bit being very transparent upfront, not willing to lead this, right? But jointly willing to lead this as a team. So if you could consider that and get someone else jointly lead this together, I think that would be a good learning, I believe, right? Rather than leading it alone. That's the kind request put forth in front of TSC.
Sure, Kader, I can actually help. Shruti, I don't know who are all the release managers in the Priol and others. So I would like to have a checklist of what are all the things that needs to be done during a release. So it's a learning process for all of us. So I need, I can work with Wave Labs.
That would be awesome, Govind. So yeah, then it's really good. Shruti, the second question. Sorry to hijack. I just came back from few challenges. Just the last one with respect to the roadmap that you mentioned. So you requested every one of us to go and put the roadmap items into the roadmap, and that will help us to decide owners and all those things. It's really well structured, Shruti. But the question that I have is the roadmap should have only those items that we plan to do, or will be, the roadmap should have items only that we are doing now or plan to do, right? And how this plan to do is decided. I know we are all in early stage, but just want to put this on the table.
Right. So it's both. For the first part, it's a road. So it's both a short-term and a long-term roadmap.
Sure.
And how do we decide what to do is something that we discuss here. Primarily, and that's where I came up with, I tried to put in the 3 bullets on the top. What is the focus of the roadmap? And that would be the guideline of how do we prioritize, right? And that's the effort that Joey has been leading in parallel around. What do we work on is how important is a feature to, or a better engineering effort or a DevOps effort for enabling and expanding the commercial deployment. So if I may just I'll just share my screen to make it easy for everyone to see. So the prior, okay. Is the font okay?
Yeah.
Right. So I would like to just share this, right? Enabling and expanding commercial deployment of Magma, enabling contributors and approvers to keep a healthy code base, and maintaining a periodic cadence of releases. So that's what it is. So I think the first part is what gets Magma up and running and commercially viable. What keeps the code base healthy and growing and stable? And then are we breaking it into smaller digestible releases so that we can have a few stable checkpoints in the life of the project, right? And that to me are three key guidelines. If I'm missing something, please add it here.
So yeah, I agree that commercial deployment should be highest priority, but there could be features which can slowly evolve also. So we are not just restricting only to commercial deployments, but if you have a clear use case, the feature list, which need not be commercially deployed immediately, but in a longer run it will be useful. So those kind of features can also be added in the roadmap. It's quite flexible, I feel, but we want Magma to get commercially deployed. That's why the bullets are defined here that way, but it's more flexible, I feel.
It's not to the extent that, every release should have this, but yeah, I agree. It's like something can be split across multiple releases. But we need it would be good to break it in that sense that, okay, this is something that would work over two releases, for example, 5G is a good example there, right? We had some of it in 1.7, we have some of it planned for 1.8, and that is along, it's towards the increasing the scope of the project, right? I'm still, and my request from Wave Labs is to put a go-to-market owner there, so we have more clarity on where this is headed in terms of commercial deployment. That would be really useful.
Got it. Yeah, it's clear. 5G SA. Network slicing is also part of 5G SA, right? More or less. So yeah.
And yeah, I just put it there for some reference from the previous roadmap. But the other question that you had about who will do this, that's where I'm looking at folks in around the TSC to take up ownership. If we don't have an owner, we cannot really have anything on the roadmap. Like I can put anything on the roadmap, but I cannot execute on it. So I would say, I would recommend, if you are adding something to the roadmap, have some sense of who the owner would be.
Understood. I think it's clear.
Right. And just to plug in there, this is, and related to the processes, we're trying to add some more guidelines around this, and I'm taking feedback from the Linux Foundation around some of the other projects, how their processes are, and in a couple of weeks, I would update the TSC processes page and come up with a proposal on how to the TSC basically is, like you mentioned, owning the roadmap, release management. In future, we would actually, an ongoing effort is who owns the DevOps priority, right? I know Tim, Shubham are the core DevOps team at the moment. We are trying but to prioritize things across the DevOps stream, and they have Shubham, keep us honest here. I believe the DevOps team is really inundated with requests all across the community, and it's just a 2-people army at this moment. And I think it needs some help in prioritizing and managing the roadmap, even for the DevOps stream. And that's something we should bring up to the attention of the TSC. We should discuss it here. So that's another process that we need to bring into structure. The other thing is around the roadmap and ownership, and this is something I would be taking to as the TSC chair. I attend the governing board meeting, and I would like to update the governing board around how is the TSC planning to make the roadmap. And because we have a request from them around, oh, when would the roadmap be ready? What would be the roadmap? And my update to them would be, this is the structure this is the process we are following, and this is still a work in progress. And I think and while we are on this topic, I also wanted to ask Joey around how the feedback collection is going from the Magma deployers.
I just was about to look because that question was coming. Looks like Yogesh put in an entry, and so we have a couple of 3 to 5 customers, and then a bucket of Wave Labs customers, and that's it. So we have at the moment like 4 confirmed commercial deployers.
From
is that the real number? Because if we think we have more than 4, then we need to figure out how we get points of contact to help weigh in on roadmap.
Yeah, and Joey, based on our experience, right? So we come across a lot of people requiring help from us, and most of the time they figure out by themselves and they deploy, right? So that they don't become as a Wavelabs customer, but they do have Magma deployments of their own. But for us, those who are actually paying us and we are deploying them, only that we have put in there, right? So I'm not sure how to actually find the people who's
what about just
Labs and deployed. I mean, who's taken Magma and deployed straight, right? Not through not through Wavelabs. I don't know how to find that.
Putting a post in the general channel that says like, hey, we're collecting feedback on the roadmap for future releases. If you are commercially deploying, reach out to us. And I mean, it won't be foolproof, but we'll probably get a couple of hits.
Yeah, and also just to share the experience, there was a couple of RFIs or also a couple of deployments based on Magma we competed, but we lost, right? We don't know who won those. It's also difficult to find that. And also I'm sure that most of them would not like to share their customer names, right, in the common forum. Like we might have 4 or 5 customers, we can't explicitly put our customer names because it's an open invitation for competitors to go and win those cases, right? So those are the things how to address is something that we need to discuss, Joey.
Huh. Good question.
Yeah, 2 things, right? Finding, like I'll tell you by my experience, right? I have worked with three people, but they eventually figured out they will do it by themselves. Magma commercial deployment without our help. How do we find them? That's number 1. Number 2 is those places that we competed, we lost. We don't know who won. How to find them? That's number 2. And then the third one is obviously not many would put their end customer names, right? Unless the end customer comes and puts it, that's a different story. But like for example, we provide today 3 or 4 customers solution on Magma. And it's difficult. I'm sure it's the same for others as well. So those are the challenges. I don't know how to address it.
I have a suggestion here. On our official Magma Core website, there is a tab called Deploy Magma. There we can have a survey forum link where individual companies can come in and fill their like how they're deploying it, how many numbers of gateways are there. It's up to them. It's free to choose. So this is just a suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should use all of the channels that we have to solicit feedback from employers. Goddard, to your question, it's probably sufficient to just like put in the table Wave Labs customer A, and then fill in data and put yourself as the contact. And when it comes to time to like send an email with a roadmap questions, just keep your internal mapping of customer A's deployment details to customer A's like email replies and question feedback. So if you want to anonymize it, I think that's an easy, like low friction way.
Yeah. In some customers are open to share it. We don't mind, right? Some customers, I'll tell you, there are customers who wants to implement some feature they don't want to upstream back into Magma, right? Because they want to keep that as their own secret sauce. So we have also done some work with some customers like that. So this various things to deal with. But
so I think something to keep in mind during is what's the goal of this exercise, and the goal of this exercise is to get feature gaps which would make sense to go on the roadmap, right? So if customers or people who chose not to go with Magma, if they can provide feedback, and if there's somebody willing to fill that gap, that would sort of like that warrants a place on a spot on the roadmap, right? So that's the goal of this exercise, to get as much input on what would make the project a success, right? What's the market asking for?
Okay. So if that collection of the customers is only for that, then we are good, right? And I'm also looking forward to you solving all the processes, Shruti, because I know that not only us, there are a few others. We created lots of roadmaps based on customers' input, but nothing, move forward. I'm looking forward to the process that you create. Then we can go back to those areas and study more.
So, Joey, if you can comment on what's the next step, right? And this could be a work like a rolling window, right? For all the customers that we have on the list right now, how do we have feedback from them already? And can we take a first stab at consolidating it and saying, okay, there are a lot of them are asking for A, but everything else is like equal priority or top priority. If we already have something like that.
Let's use the email template that I created, and anyone listed in the TSC contact owner columns, so myself and Yogesh, send out the email to your Jackson. Let's get the feedback.
Actually, we did that exercise, Joey, in the past for at least 5G SA. Right? We have a consolidated list with the customer names, but we'll anonymize it and we'll probably send it to you and Shruti. We have created that Excel sheet and we created different customers, yes, no, different features. We created that at least for 5G SA. We put like at least 8 to 10 weeks of effort early this year to do that. We can probably share that with you.
you reviewed the email template that's proposed, because it isn't specific to any feature. It's just, you know, the questions. Let me see, anything I can't share on this screen? No. The questions, you guys can see the survey questions.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Okay.
You can see it.
The questions are just like, what are the pain? Oh, I see a typo. Pain points you're experiencing with the deployment operation or the development of your Magma network. What feature gaps have you observed, and how do they impact your business? And then, is security up to your needs? So it isn't limited. It's like meant to be open-ended to let the customers show us where their heads are.
Got it. It's pretty clear. Thank you.
So, Shruti, I think the next steps are Yogesh and I will send these emails. If we can send them out today and then give the customer a week to reply, we'll then consolidate the feedback and share it here. And I'm not sure who made the suggestion, but we should also post in the Slack general channel and post on the Linux Foundation to deploy Magma page and solicit commercial deployers to join the conversation.
Joey, from ARM side, I have reached out to go-to-market team. I have not got any response so far. I'll reach out to them and see whether I can fill in some more details there. So far, I have not got a response.
Got it.
Sounds good. Yeah, so hopefully we can get some input by next week and then go over that and get maybe 2 weeks from now, we'll have some details, right, on the feedback. Right. In the meantime, I would really highly encourage, like, let's just at least have awareness around what are the ongoing efforts and add them to the roadmap. Right. That's all.
You know, I know I've been asking too much questions. I'll wait for others to speak. I have one last. If no one is having anything, I'll probably ask that to you, Shruti.
Yeah. So I have a topic to discuss on the DevOps. So far, Mohit has joined from OAI. They are going to take over Magma CI, and we all know that it is currently running on x86. So we need to take some initiative here to make Magma CPU agnostic, right? So how to make the new CI workflows that are getting added to be platform neutral. So So we need the DevOps community and give some suggestions how we can take that forward. Mohit, do you have any input from Open Air interface side? Do you have any plans to make the workflows working on ARM platform?
So, Govind, I'll interject there is anything that goes into the CI workflow first has to be ready in the dev workflow, right? So if you believe the containerized access gateway and with S1 AP tester and that whole workflow is ready in a dev setup, then taking it into CI is a matter of automating it and gathering resources, the right resources, right? If that's the step we are blocked on and everything else is done, like all the code is in master and well documented, then we can move forward to the automation and the CI part. But my understanding is we are still waiting on that milestone, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we are working on the manual testing part that will be done from our side. We want community to help us to build those CI workflows, right? So we need community support for that, right? What is the DevOps suggestion here and what is OAI suggestion here? How are you going to enable that, right? And Wave Labs is developing a lot of 5G features and they are trying to come up with the S1 AP test equivalent for 5G. That is again going to run on x86. Are there any initiatives from Wave Labs side to support it on ARM platform? Those are the questions that I have, at least for the upcoming features, right? Whatever that exists currently, yes, we have to see how we can port it. Those S1 AP test and SRS RAN test, we are seeing that an alternative for the existing available test case in Magma repo, at least for the new features that is coming from Wave Labs and others. Are you planning to test it in ARM platform? And how can we enable that in CI? Right.
So, Govind, from the DevOps team, I can say there are a lot of discussions happening in the OAI CI channel. You are not there, but me and Sagar are regularly discussing, Sagar from OAI, regarding all the CI testing for x86 and future we have to port it to ARM. We have also discussed that. So I would suggest you can join that channel. In the future meetings, I will also add you. So you can ask same question directly to the OAI team because the Sagar is taking lead there, I guess. Mohit can add it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Shubham, for your input. Shubham is correct. Sagar is the one who's leading the DevOps activities at OAI. And it will be good if you are a part of that OAI CI channel. And moreover, I think the document was shared about the proposal, how the CI pipeline and the CI whole, the CI process will be taken care by the OAI community. So if there are questions which are still left unanswered, yes, then I suggest what Shubham has suggested to join the channel, and then we can carry on the discussion there. Or if you feel like you can drop a message to OAI community offline also.
Okay, Mohit. Yeah. Sounds good.
I have added you to the channel. You can see the discussions.
Sure, we will discuss this topic there. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, in the interest of time, we need to move on to the next agenda topic, which is security check-in from Lucas.
Thank you. We have basically 3 items to cover. First of all, there's a disclosure related to the AWS Marketplace. Just want to fill the TSC in. I want to talk about the roadmap also. So very relevant to this conversation so far. And if we have spare time, it's not super likely, we could go over a couple more disclosures that we could work on. So to begin, this is the AWS Marketplace item. The AWS Marketplace informed us that there is a C library, NSS3, that has a known vulnerability as an advisory, and that was detected by a bot. And they informed us that they would disable our AMIs on May 14, which was Saturday. We looked into it last week. And what we found was that there are system libraries, shared libraries that we don't link against that are included in our AMIs. And we made a plan to revise those and push an update today, we hope. Because we were proactive on that and promised to get it finished today, Marketplace promised to not disable our AMIs on Saturday. And so we're targeting that. Let me say this has led to a valuable proactive improvement to security in our AMIs, which is recognizing that there may be any number of shared libraries that are insecure, that are potential attack vectors. So this gives us an angle for securing our AMIs. I'm not sure that will get fixed today because it's so important to fix this one NSS3 thing, but we are so far on track to do this. Let me pause and get feedback and thoughts on this item. This is, by the way, let me post this to the chat. Everybody good with where we stand? Should I just go on?
Hey, Lucas, regarding the C library, this is for our gateway or bootstrapper also?
It is for a cloud strapper, the gateway, and actually, let me share that again. So all three of these have the issue. It's contained in the root the root image, so we need to fix all.
So the C library that is vulnerable, like that is, we are using that code in kernel, like Linux kernel, right?
It is. I don't know if it's, well, it's a shared library that's available at the system level. We don't know that anybody's linking against it. libNSS3, we definitely don't use it. And so what this points to is that we have left open a number of vulnerabilities that we don't know about, which are insecure libraries that are known to be insecure. This one and others that we have yet to identify.
So these AMIs are built on like old version of AMIs, the Ubuntu base that we have used. So if we just take the latest version of AMI and do the entire build again, will it solve the thing? I think.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
I think there's a question of why the base AMI was insecure. Did we choose the wrong one or did we fail to upgrade it?
So the developer who actually created all the AMIs, like not with us. So we really don't know. Maybe there was no security properly checked in, or it was not discovered at that time. But yeah, what's the solution here? So should we rebuild it and like push new AMIs, then replace those?
We will so the short-term solution for today is rebuild it without libNSS3. And the longer-term solution is to identify all the libraries we're not using and ship without them so that future vulnerabilities don't affect us. But we could also take the different approach of just keeping in sync with a base image that is known to be upgraded.
So with our access gateway, we have a restriction of kernel version that we have to use 5.4. For others like Cloud Strapper, we can choose whatever we want. Actually, in a DevOps meeting, we discussed that with 1.8 version, we will release new AMIs for these. But before that, do we also need to like fix this before it? Like, so Amazon don't take our AMIs down.
Correct on both counts. That is, we do have to fix this one library like today. But I think for the larger thing, that should be part of the next release. It should be part of the 1.8 release.
Okay, then in release, we also have to mention, okay, that we'll need all three of these AMIs, but we have to find an owner who will be like owning all of these three and maintaining it and building new images and uploading it to AWS. So yeah, let's discuss this. Okay, we don't know that.
Agreed. What is the next step on finding that maintainer? Would that be an ordinary part of the release process?
So the person who actually build and maintain is not with us. Yeah, that was Quentin. So yeah, so we have to find, okay, what are all things that he did and how we can do it and maintain it. If DevOps team will be taking care of it, or like release team, let's say we will have this time, we're taking care of lead. So we have to decide on this. I'll have to talk with Tim and Ashwin on this, then yeah, I can update after that.
So is our next check-in there the release 1.8 meeting?
Yeah, we can discuss it there.
Okay, so should we take it out of the TSC Mondays and move it to the 1.8 project?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Okay, so next item of business in the plan for today is to talk about the security roadmap. This really goes to larger roadmap conversations, and so the conversation we're already having is super relevant. What I've done is kind of prepared some options for the security parts of the roadmap, and we need to find consensus as a group. So let me explain where we stand, first of all. The first major security work was a third-party audit by a company called the NCC Group. That was in 2017. They came up with a list of vulnerabilities that we are still in the process of closing. And let me know, we haven't fixed those yet, and it's 2022. Fall of 2021, my team arrived and we started working on very small piece-by-piece upgrades. Right now, we have moved into a system where we have a weekly conversation about security in the TSC meeting, and kind of move things forward. But we always move forward sort of in a small bore way. We're not really big picture. And in the future, I propose that we move towards the entire security lifecycle, and kind of be proactive about where we want to be. The goals that I would identify for the future is, first of all, that we do some requirements gathering, some threat modeling based on what we need as software developers, what deployments need, and what callers and users need in terms of their security. We are doing the user interviews. Those are going to lead to requirements, and we made progress in that today. Secondly, metrics. So realize that the security lifecycle kind of has these three components. Each one feeds into the next, and they cycle around. So along the metrics front, we've done a OSSF scorecard review, and we have some other projects going. I know I'm about to run out of time. Lastly, on the engineering front, we should talk about secure coding practices. I know that this has happened in the past. I know that the team is quite competent, but we may want to be proactive about that and have a deliberate conversation. And we may want to do an audit. So compare that stuff to what's actually in the roadmap. These are all items I added. Notice these are very small bore. Right? Like we have a list of disclosures, we have the Dependabot alerts, the OSSF scorecard identified some CI issues, SBOM, secure defaults, and so on. But these are kind of just patches, one by one, to fix things as they come up, but they're not a proactive plan. So that's what I've prepared for conversation, and I want to solicit feedback and ideas and guidance. That's it for me.
Thanks for the update, Lucas. Max, you are here and I've added you as the developer owner on the roadmap there. Would this be a good discussion for you and Lucas to have separately on how to structure the security roadmap going forward?
Yeah, I think we should schedule a meeting and we should discuss that. That's a good idea. Yeah. Lucas, I will reach out to you in Slack.
Excellent. And I'm glad to get to engage in that and get your support on it. And if anybody else has thoughts, you know, they're very welcome and valuable.
I think from my perspective, one good way of understanding this would be having a baseline of where we start in terms of vulnerabilities and open, like based on the analysis, we found some vulnerabilities and to track how we have progressed on closing those over time. And that's something for, again, the development team and you, Lucas, to decide, right? What are the key fixes we need and how are we planning them? How are we making progress? How would we track that, right? And some of this can feed into the roadmap, like this is what we are aiming for 1.8. This is what would be for 1.9 and so on.
That sounds good. I'll look for whatever metrics I can find on our progress and performance of security objectives.
Sounds good.
There are a couple other items we could look at, not necessary. Let me just remind everybody, if you have a disclosure assigned to you, I'd welcome, reach out if I can support you.
Sure.
All right, I know we're out of time, but is there any other business that people would like to bring up? If not, then we can go ahead and close the meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.